Hello viewers, you're welcome to another educative moment on Healthwise. On today's episode, we'll be discussing one of the prevalent environmental health issues, waste and your health. I am Adeshegun Temitope, your host on this show. You all are welcome. With us in the studio is Dr. Ibukun Olatunbosun, a public health practitioner and also a medical officer of health at the local council development area, Ikosi Isheri. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming. Alongside the doctor is Mrs. Abimbola Ogun. She's the General Manager, Admin and Special Duties, Lagos State Waste Management Authority. Thank you very much, ma. Thanks for coming on. Thank you so much. Lagos State has put in so much effort to cope the challenges Loma is facing. Can you tell us more about the challenges Lagos State is facing?
Thank you very much. Lagos State is one of the smallest states in the Federation, really? But it harbors the greatest number of people. Okay. In Lagos today, the population estimate is put about 15 million persons, and we have about 4,800 persons per square kilometer of in the state. Wow. And you know, the more the people, the more the waste that will be generated.
Yes.
Because there's a direct correlation between the waste and mankind. Every day, an average human being generates at least 0.5 kg of waste. Wow. On a daily basis. And so that means we have at Akiti about 10,000 tons of waste to be evacuated on a daily basis. We also have communities at different areas, those on land, those on the waterlogged area, and those on the very developed areas. And because these wastes are generated on a daily basis, even the day-old baby generates waste, so this waste must also be evacuated. Aside of that, Lagos is a household name for issue of Tokumbo vehicles. And so there's quite a lot of vehicles that come into the states with fairly used tires. Oh, these tires are then disposed daily, and so we have to carry nothing less than about 5 trailer load of used tires at the end of every month.
Wow.
Aside of that, the human habits is only trying to change gradually, because ab initio, people are used to eating whatever they have in the buses, on moving trucks, in the vehicles, and throwing them off the road. So we have issues of waste collection from the household. We have challenges of waste collection from the industries. We also had issues of waste collection even from the organized sectors. So far, in the last 8 years, the state government has supported the cause of Loma, and we have been able to put in place policies and strategies that has even jump-started the process of the next level of waste management in the whole of Nigeria. We have PSP operators that are now available in all the households in the state. Okay. We also have people that are collecting waste from the marine environment, because most of these people that live very close to the canal dump their waste into the water bodies, and this will eventually find their ways into the water bodies. So people have to evacuate those wastes so that they will not come back and compound the problem of flooding. Aside of that, also, we have the issue of people now sweeping the city. When you come to the city of Lagos today, you find people sweeping the city because the issue of litter, that is the litters, very small waste, are something that people are looking at for to judge the state in level of cleanliness or in level of dirtiness. But by and large, we have been able to overcome these challenges because of the commitment of the governor of the state and the commitment of all those in the executive council, and most especially the managing director, Loma, who is Olaore Sanya, who today cannot make it for this program. We would have loved to be here. So by and large, we have been coping with the problem. There are no problem because there's no problem issue of it. Really. There are only challenges. Yes. And these challenges are surmountable.
Oh, thank you very much. So we can say that Lagos State is really doing something to actually curb the excesses through Loma. Thank you very much, ma. So, what are the notable diseases that are associated with unsanitary environmental cases?
Thank you very much. We have number one, commonest in this environment is malaria, which is from a disease vector we know as mosquitoes. And the second one are waterborne diseases like cholera. If the drainages are not okay and there's flooding, there is bound to be outbreaks of cholera in such areas that are heavily flooded from time to time. So those two are very common in this environment, and if the waste is not properly disposed, it will compound the problem. We know that Lagos is a very humid environment. It's in a tropical environment. And if these wastes are not properly disposed, it gives more room for the disease vectors to breed and to lead to more infections.
So we've been talking about ways of disposing our refuse. So Ma, what are the acceptable ways of disposing our refuse?
Every generator of waste has the responsibility to make sure that the waste is properly containerized. That is, each household in the state is expected to have a 240-wheeler bin receptacle for its containerization of waste.
Okay.
By the time the waste are put in containers that have lid, I'm sure the incidence of outbreak of epidemic that the doctor is talking about will be reduced at least to the barest minimum. And the arrangement we have in place now is that the PSP operators, they must come to each household to collect their waste at least once in a month. Sorry, once in a week.
Okay.
And that means 4 times in the month. And at the end of it, every generator of the waste also have responsibility that once this waste is evacuated, he has to wash the bins again and make sure it's ready for next set of waste collection. In order to make the whole process easier, we can also introduce the black nylon. The black nylons can be used to contain waste, and then you put it inside the bin. Under that condition, you are protecting the dispersal of the waste, and you are making sure that the waste is properly kept in place before the PSP operator comes.
Okay.
And after that, you will then be able to pay for services that has been rendered.
Thank you very much. Let's take a look at these 2 buttress points.
Modernization and progress has had its share of disadvantages, and one of the main aspects of concern is the pollution it is causing the earth, be it land, air, and water. With increase in the global population and the rising demand for food and other essentials, there has been a rise in the amount of waste being generated daily by each household. However, either due to resource crunch or inefficient infrastructure, not all of this waste gets collected and transported to the final dump sites. If at this stage the management and disposal is improperly done, it can cause serious impacts on health and problems to the surrounding environment. Since the 1970s, major changes in waste disposal have taken place around the planet. Recycling has become a regular component of garbage pickup, even mandatory in some places. Many endangered plant and animal species are at risk of extinction due to improper waste disposal. Waste that is not properly managed, especially excreta and other liquid and solid waste from households and the community, pose a serious health hazard and lead to the spread of infectious diseases. Unattended waste lying around attracts flies, rats, and other creatures that in turn spread disease. Normally, it is the wet waste that decomposes and releases a bad odor. This leads to unhygienic conditions and thereby to a rise in the health problems. Diseases such as dengue fever, prevalent in developing nations, are believed to be perpetrated by unsanitary waste disposal methods. Higher prevalence of reproductive disorders, including low birth weight, are common in areas located near existing and former landfills. So, where do we go from here? We can keep ignoring the problem of improper waste disposal and continue filling the earth and air with toxic waste, or we can begin to address the problem individually. Each of us can make better choices with the items we purchase to reduce our waste. Things such as disposable baby diapers take many lifetimes to decompose. Instead of opting for plastic, we can choose cloth diapers that are not only better for our children but best for the planet. We can also choose items that are sold in as little packaging as possible, opting for fresh fruits and vegetables. Composting organic matter is another way to reduce waste. Many municipalities now offer composting facilities, making it easier than ever. The numbers are staggering. An estimated 6 million people worldwide contract a foodborne illness each year. It is not just the person infected with the illness that suffers. Everyone around that person stands a chance of risking his or her life. You too can reduce this risk. Stop throwing waste in the wrong places. Save your health and save our future.
Welcome back. I'm sure we've learned a lot from what we've just said. Doctor, I would like to ask you, how transmissible are these diseases?
Well, thank you very much. They are easily transmitted. Contact from one person to the other is easy. Where you have overpopulation and where you have people living in areas that are overcrowded. So like I mentioned earlier, the malaria we're talking about, if the mosquito, the vector bites someone who is infected, it can easily transmit it to the other person. So it's very easy for such diseases to be transmitted from one person to the other in a place like Lagos.
Wow. Okay, you want to shed more light on that, ma?
Yeah, in addition to what the doctor have said, if your waste is not properly evacuated regularly, it will become a stagnant environment where vectors like mosquito can breed. And once this happens, there will be further transmission of these diseases. And so everybody has a responsibility to ensure that their waste is properly evacuated, while they have also made their own responsibility of making sure that these wastes are properly containerized. The issue of malaria, as the doctor said, I'm sure he knows that is very rampant in different parts of the world. And we have had cases where children die every second in case of malaria. And aside of malaria, other killer diseases are cholera. When there's an outbreak of cholera, there's continuous flow of feces from the person, and before you know it is due to contaminated water source from improper disposal of waste. And this waste could either be the sewer or also the solid waste. And so that is why everybody has a responsibility for his health or her health, because we know health is wealth. If you want to remain healthy, you must make sure that your environment is clean, and at all times join the government of the state to propagate the change. The change we are looking at is that put your waste in containers, and these containers, once the PSP does not come, we have customer care line you can call. Everybody has a duty. If you find waste in the wrong place, you can always call a toll-free line. It's always available in Loma, and we're always there 24/7 to address your challenges. But you could recall also some of us that have been in Lagos for over 8 years. We started with tippers for waste collection, and these tippers were dispersing waste all over the city of the state. But now they have changed into specialized trucks, which we now have, we call compactors. These compactors will hold the waste and reduce dispersal. But because of the challenges, they could have 1 or 2 breakdowns, and that is why once you call Loma, Loma has its own backup team that could come and help you evacuate the waste. And I also want to put on record that last year there was outbreak of cholera in many states in Nigeria except Lagos. And that is why Lagos has been the forefront on issue of what has to do with health and environment.
Would the doctor agree with Mommy on that, based on the statistics of people in the hospital?
Of course, I can't agree with that more, because this environment is prone to flooding.
Okay.
But you have to give kudos to Lagos for trying to reduce or prevent incidents of cholera and waterborne diseases in our communities. Of course, we know there are some areas that are easily prone to flooding, but we know that Lagos is making a lot of steps, making a lot of enlightenment campaigns, a lot of community mobilization to ensure that people are aware of what they need to do to prevent waterborne disease and flooding.
Thank you very much.
So, we all have a role. The students have their role. They have to develop themselves into advocacy teams and start changing we the elders. We the parents have a role. We have to make sure that we educate our children. And the government also has its own role to ensure that waste that is collected is properly managed. The media has a major role to propagate this issue of cleanliness is next to godliness to all the people of Lagos.
Yeah. There is a major question I would like to ask you, Ma. What are the criteria of giving the PSP holders license?
For you to be licensed as a PSP operator in Lagos, you must fit into the state criteria.
Okay.
The criteria is that you must have a vehicle, and the vehicle must be as specified by Loma. The other ones which you see are the bulk waste movers. Okay. They are the ones that you can find in the marketplaces, because the level of waste generation in the market cannot be compared with the homes. Okay. Instead of collecting waste in the homes once in a week, we collect waste in the market almost twice every day because of the population of people and the quantum of waste that is generated. And so by the time this waste is collected, and they have to transport it from one point to the other, they have to cover it with net. And once in a while, you could have 1 or 2 litrings, but that is not the order of the day. I'm sure you will recall, in those days when the whole of the PSP operators were using open trucks, you know that the story was quite different from what we have today. We are developing policies, we are changing systems, and we are trying to encourage the best practice to make sure that waste is containerized, waste is collected, and no dispersal.
A big round of applause for Loma. Well, for the victims, for those that have been affected one way or the other, either through malaria or cholera, how do they get treated?
Of course, the first place is the primary health centers.
Okay.
That's why the Lagos State government is trying to put in place infrastructure upgrade for the primary health centers so that they are closest to the people can easily get there for treatment.
So it's easily accessible?
Very, very accessible.
Okay.
You have a PHC, we call it primary health care centers,
Okay.
close to you, where you can easily go to for treatment. And now we are even having what we call the flagship health centers, where we have a very complement of primary health centers in full, where they can access healthcare close to them. They don't need to go to the secondary health facilities again. We have to see them first before we refer to the secondary health facilities, and they are everywhere in Lagos.
Well, we'll take a last word from Mrs. Abimbola before she leaves.
Thank you very much. My story is that ensure that your waste is properly containerized, ensure that you do the needful, and make sure that you pay for the services rendered by the PSP operators. Okay. But we are moving to the second level in Lagos now. We have started, the first level is to make sure that the city is clean. If you recall, time it was when you are welcome to Lagos with heap of waste, waste lining in states in Lagos. But now the story have changed. It's because of the effort of you and I. And we are saying the next level is to encourage recycling. That is, you can make money from this waste you are generating through collection of recyclable materials. And the recyclable materials include the PET bottles, your broken bottles, your newspapers, name them. By the time you remove that from your waste stream and put it aside because they cannot degrade immediately, unlike the other ones that you need to dispose as quick as possible, I'm sure you can make some money back. And we have started